Being quiet is not being weak. It is a strength. The person who talks too much shows everyone what they're thinking and shows their weaknesses. The quiet person makes others pay close attention, watch carefully, and wonder about them. Being calm without making noise makes people uncomfortable because they can't figure you out. They can't predict what you'll do. They can't measure you. When you're silent, you create mystery. When you hold back, you create power. When you walk into a room, it's not your words that show who you are. It's your control. Every look, every pause, every moment you choose not to speak makes you more valuable. Charisma is not about filling silence with talking. It's about making silence work for you. A wise writer named Machiavelli wrote that people are more impressed by what they can't fully understand. And nothing is harder to understand than a person who doesn't share too much. To be quietly attractive is to use scarcity as a tool. To make your attention, your words, and your very presence something rare and special. Today I will give you 12 habits. Each one is designed to make you strong and in control. Listen carefully. This is not just charm. This is power. And if you're ready, comment below with the phrase power in silence. Let's begin. Number 1, the strength of holding back. Being attractive is not built by chasing people. It's built by holding back. Understand this. People want what they can't easily get. The moment you give someone too many words, too much approval, and too many explanations, you take away the mystery that could have connected them to you. A person who holds back gets respect even from enemies. Why? Because holding back shows discipline. Discipline shows control, and control is the core of power. Imagine two people standing in the same room. One laughs too loud, interrupts too often, desperate to be noticed. The other stands calm, shoulders back, speaking only when needed. Which one holds the quiet authority? Which one changes the atmosphere without effort? The second one. Always the second one. Because silence wrapped in confidence feels dangerous. It feels unpredictable. People put their own fears and ideas into your quietness, and that makes you bigger than life. This is why emperors, leaders, and smart planners understood the value of holding back. You let others show themselves while you save your energy. You let them share information while you stay unreadable. And in that imbalance, you win. From today forward, practice speaking less and watching more. The world is loud. Be different. Make your silence echo. And if you understand this truth, prove it in the comments by writing, "Silence commands power." Let's see how many of you are ready to walk into the world with a presence that can't be ignored and, more importantly, can't be controlled. Number 2, the power of controlled stillness. Movement shows weakness. Fidgeting, shifting, tapping. These are signs of a restless mind. A person who cannot control their body cannot get respect. Controlled stillness is your first silent weapon. When you sit, sit like you belong on a throne. When you stand, stand like the ground bends under your weight. Don't dart your eyes around like prey. Let them move slowly, carefully, like you are always thinking. Understand, hunters don't rush. They wait patiently. And in human psychology, the same rule applies. Those who flinch, twitch, or make too many movements show anxiety, desperation, and a need for approval. Those who stay calm, even in chaos, become untouchable. When others argue, stay calm. When others panic, stay collected. Stillness makes people nervous because it's the opposite of ordinary. Most people are slaves to impulse. You will become the master of holding back. Practice this habit in public. Reduce unnecessary motion. Slow your pace. Lower your reactions. The world will begin to sense something about you, though they won't be able to name it. They'll call it confidence, mystery, dominance. But in truth, it is power disguised as calm. Never forget, movement without purpose is weakness. Stillness with intent is authority. When you make every motion deliberate, every glance calculated, you shift from ordinary to magnetic. To be quietly attractive, begin not with your words but with your body. Because the body always speaks first. And when yours speaks the language of power, the world listens. Write this in the comments now. Stillness is strength. Because strength in silence begins here. Number 3. The art of pausing before you speak. Words lose their value when they're thrown carelessly into the air. Most people speak before their thoughts are formed. They rush to fill silence, terrified of the tension it creates. But that tension, if you command it, becomes a weapon sharper than steel. The habit you must master is simple. Pause before you speak. Not hesitation, not insecurity, calculated silence. When a question is asked, wait a heartbeat. When someone seeks your opinion, take a moment longer than expected. The world is addicted to speed, but influence belongs to those who control time. That pause will make people nervous. It forces them to wait on your terms, not theirs. It shows that your words are chosen, not spilled. And when you finally speak, your voice will carry the weight of importance. Machiavelli taught that a ruler must appear thoughtful even when acting ruthlessly. Your pauses create the appearance and the reality that you think deeper than others. This gives you leverage. In business, it makes your words sound like decisions. In relationships, it creates anticipation. In conflict, it shows dominance. Practice this seriously. Never answer instantly. Never speak reflexively. Let silence frame your voice like a blade drawn from its sheath. And understand the psychology here. People will begin to hang on your every word. Because the longer they wait, the more precious your words become. This is how kings speak. This is how hunters stalk. Never forget, impatience is the language of the weak, and patience is the language of power. From this moment, every pause you take is a demonstration of control. Control of yourself, control of the pace, control of the room. And in that control lies attraction, respect, and authority. Comment this phrase right now if you understand. My silence shapes power. Because from this point forward, you will not simply speak, you will control the rhythm of speech itself. Number 4. The discipline of eye contact without need. Eyes reveal the soul, or at least that's what weak people believe. In truth, eyes are weapons, and like any weapon, they can be mastered or misused. Most people's gaze betrays them. They either avoid eye contact, signaling weakness and submission, or they cling to it too desperately, revealing hunger, validation-seeking, or worse, neediness. Both destroy power. The discipline you must acquire is the ability to hold eye contact without clinging to it, to look directly at someone without the slightest tremor of need. You are not searching for approval. You are not begging for connection. You are simply observing, evaluating, measuring like a hunter studying prey. That subtle difference changes everything. Because when you look at someone with control, you show dominance. You communicate, I see you, but I am not impressed. This makes people nervous. They will feel exposed, judged, even slightly inferior without knowing why. It forces them into your frame. Yet here's the paradox. You must also know when to break eye contact. Hold too long and you reveal obsession. Look away too soon and you reveal weakness. The key is balance. Make eye contact long enough to establish authority. Then break it on your terms, as though your attention is too valuable to remain fixed. That single gesture, looking away first because you choose to, not because you must, communicates higher value more powerfully than any words. In business, it makes you the person others cannot shake. In attraction, it creates tension that electrifies. In confrontation, it quietly asserts that you fear nothing. But understand this clearly. Your gaze must never be frantic, darting, or restless. A controlled gaze is slow, deliberate, steady. Train yourself. When you enter a room, scan it as though nothing surprises you. When you speak, lock eyes with your subject. Then let your gaze drift only when you decide the moment is finished. This habit builds silent charisma because it blends mystery with authority. They will wonder what you are thinking, what you are seeing, and why your presence feels heavier than theirs. That is the beginning of psychological control. Remember, attraction is not about being liked. It's about being respected, desired, and feared in equal measure. Master your gaze, and you master perception itself. Now, if you understand the weapon you carry in your eyes, write this in the comments. My eyes command respect. Because respect is the foundation of all power, and your eyes are the first step in making the world bend to it. Number 5, the calculated economy of words. Most people drown themselves with noise. They cannot stand the weight of silence, so they fill it with empty explanations, nervous laughter, and useless chatter. But here's the truth. The more you say, the less value your words hold. The fewer you say, the sharper they cut. Power has always belonged to those who speak rarely but decisively. Think of emperors, warlords, shadow tacticians. They understood that a single sentence delivered with precision can change more minds than an hour of rambling. The economy of words is not about speaking less for the sake of it. It's about strategic scarcity. People are addicted to information. They crave certainty, reassurance, detail. Deny them this luxury, and they lean closer. Deny them, and their imagination does the work for you. Silence forces them to wonder what you are thinking, what you are planning, and whether they should be worried. This habit creates psychological imbalance. You are always one step ahead because they reveal themselves trying to fill the silence you deliberately leave. Never explain more than necessary. Never justify. When someone questions your decision, give them only enough to quiet them. The rest, let it hang in the air like a storm cloud. A Machiavellian mind knows that truth is a weapon best hidden until it serves a purpose. Do not confuse restraint with weakness. Restraint is a signal of absolute control. A person who feels the urge to explain himself is begging to be understood. A person who doesn't care if he is understood forces others to adjust to him. That is the essence of power. Imagine a debate. One person argues endlessly, spewing facts, begging for agreement. The other listens, nods once, then delivers a single cutting remark that dismantles the entire argument. Who commands respect? Not the talker, the one who waits, chooses, and strikes. Your words should feel like a blade, not a storm. Every sentence must carry weight, authority, inevitability. Practice this ruthlessly. Before you speak, ask yourself, does this add power to my position or does it drain it? If it drains, eliminate it. If it adds, deliver it cold and sharp. In negotiation, this will make people second-guess themselves. In attraction, it will make others crave your approval because they never quite know where they stand. In leadership, it will elevate you from noisemaker to signal. This is how you become quietly attractive. You become the person whose silence feels heavier than another person's words, and whose words feel like prophecy when finally spoken. From this moment forward, train yourself to be measured, controlled, deliberate. Cut filler, cut softness, cut apology. Speak rarely, but speak with fire. And if you understand this law, write it in the comments. My words are weapons. Because in the game of power, language is not for comfort. It's for conquest. Number 6. Mastering the weapon of strategic indifference. Attraction dies in the hands of desperation. The person who chases, who seeks validation, who reacts emotionally to every gesture and word, he makes himself cheap. And cheap people are invisible. But the person who trains himself to show indifference, the person who can remain unmoved in the face of approval or rejection, becomes dangerous because nothing can control him. Indifference is not apathy. It's not laziness or weakness of desire. It's control. It's the art of feeling desire, but not being ruled by it. It's the ability to look at opportunity, praise, insult, even beauty, and remain steady, unshaken, in control of your own reactions. Most people collapse under the weight of attention. Give them a compliment, and they light up like children. Insult them, and they bark back like dogs. But a person of indifference smiles at both as if they are nothing. Because in truth, they are nothing. Words, approval, insults. These are attempts to steer you, to control you, to test you. The indifferent person does not play. He watches. He weighs. He responds only if it serves his interest. This makes him unreadable, unpredictable, magnetic. People crave to know what he thinks, how he feels, why he doesn't bend. And in that craving, they give him power. This is why Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Love is cheap when it can be bought with flattery. Fear, respect, and intrigue are priceless when they are built on the foundation of indifference. Strategic indifference also frees you from manipulation. The world is full of people who weaponize emotion to pull strings. They will guilt you, flatter you, provoke you. But if you master this habit, their strings find no purchase. They push, but you do not move. They prod, but you do not flinch. You remain calm, detached, in control. That control is what makes people call you mysterious, confident, untouchable. In reality, it is nothing more than self-command. Practice this. When complimented, give a simple nod. No excitement, no overthinking. When insulted, let your face remain still. No defense, no argument. When temptation comes, let it circle you, but never drag you. The indifferent person does not run from life. He chooses what matters and discards the rest without regret. That is the highest form of silent attraction. You show the world that nothing outside of you has the authority to dictate your state. From today, embody this truth. Your power comes from what cannot be taken away. Comment below with this phrase if you're ready to own it. I am untouchable. Because when indifference becomes your armor, no one can play you, no one can own you, and everyone, whether they admit it or not, will be drawn to you. Number 7. The power of controlled silence in social combat. Conversation is war disguised as civility. Every exchange, every word, every laugh is a subtle battle for dominance. The weak person thinks conversation is about connection. The strong person knows it is about control. And one of the sharpest weapons you can wield in this battlefield is controlled silence. Not the silence of awkwardness, not the silence of ignorance, but silence designed to unbalance, to manipulate, to dominate. Most people rush to fill every gap in dialogue, terrified of what silence exposes. They cannot stand the weight of unspoken words, so they speak without thinking, revealing themselves. You will do the opposite. You will allow silence to breathe. You will watch others crumble under its pressure. This is how you seize control without lifting a finger. When asked a question, wait before answering. Let the silence sharpen the edge of your reply. When someone challenges you, don't rush to defend yourself. Look at them unblinking, and let the silence strip their confidence before you even respond. When you are confronted with gossip, flattery, or provocation, let your stillness communicate more than words ever could. In doing this, you place others in the prison of their own nerves. They begin to talk faster, reveal more, stumble into mistakes, all because your silence forced them into discomfort. Understand this: silence is not absence. It is presence magnified. It is dominance unspoken. It is power that suffocates the insecure and fascinates the curious. Used properly, silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds fear. In negotiations, the person who speaks less wins more. In relationships, the one who can withhold words creates deeper obsession. In conflict, the person who can stand still, quiet, unshaken breaks the will of those who rely on chaos. Machiavelli understood that people are slaves to appearances, and silence creates the most dangerous appearance of all: depth. They imagine what you might say, what you might think, what you might do. And in that imagining, they build you into something greater than you are. That is how kings are born. So train this habit relentlessly. Resist the urge to explain, defend, overshare. Say less than necessary. Let your silence become the knife that others cut themselves on. From this moment forward, you are not afraid of pauses. You are the master of them. You don't rush to fill air. You force others to suffocate in it. And if you understand the psychological war you now command, write this in the comments: my silence breaks them. Because once silence becomes your weapon, every conversation turns into your battlefield, and you will never lose. Number 8. The magnetic gravity of purposeful isolation. Most people fear being alone. They drown themselves in noise, distractions, pointless company. Terrified of silence, terrified of solitude, terrified of facing the emptiness of themselves. Weak people chase crowds because they cannot stand the reflection in the mirror when the room is empty. But the person of power chooses isolation not as an escape but as a weapon. He understands that solitude is not loneliness. It is a forge. In isolation, he sharpens himself, builds discipline, and separates his mind from the pollution of the herd. This is why purposeful isolation is one of the most quietly attractive habits you can master. The person who can walk alone radiates independence, self-sufficiency, untouchable strength, because the crowd senses it. He does not need us. And people are drawn obsessively to those who do not need them. This is Machiavellian in essence. Dependency is weakness. Autonomy is power. Every time you pull away, you reclaim leverage. You create space. And in that space, others grow restless. They wonder where you are, what you are doing, who you are becoming. Mystery is born in absence, not presence. The constant person is familiar, predictable, forgettable. The person who disappears strategically becomes mythic. This does not mean abandoning the world or retreating into permanent exile. It means controlling your exposure. You appear when it benefits you, when your presence carries weight. Then you vanish, leaving silence and curiosity behind. This cycle conditions others to value you, to hunger for your return. And when you return, you are received with heightened intensity. In business, purposeful isolation allows you to think without interference, to make moves that others cannot anticipate. In relationships, it breeds obsession because absence makes them chase what they cannot hold. In life, it crafts an aura that says, I belong to myself, not to you, not to anyone. And this terrifies people because most cannot imagine being free of validation. Isolation also trains the mind to be unshaken. When you can sit in silence, when you can exist without external noise, you become immovable. The person who fears solitude is a slave to company. The person who embraces it becomes master of himself. That mastery is magnetic. It is rare. It is unforgettable. From today, schedule time to vanish. Withdraw strategically. Do not announce. Do not explain. Simply step away. Build yourself in the shadows, then return with sharpened edges. The world will feel the shift without knowing why. That is the essence of silent attraction. They crave you most when they cannot touch you. Comment this phrase right now if you understand the gravity of this law. My isolation creates power. Because in a world addicted to noise, the person who masters solitude becomes the loudest presence of all. Number 9. The cold authority of emotional control. Every empire that collapses, every general that fails, every person who loses power falls not because of the enemy's strength, but because of his own weakness of emotion. Anger blinds him. Desire chains him. Fear cripples him. Pride exposes him. History is filled with people who had wealth, armies, and influence but could not master themselves. And here is the law you must carve into your bones. The person who cannot command his emotions will never command respect. Emotional control is not suppression. It is being in charge. It is the ability to feel the storm without letting the storm dictate your moves. Weak people react. Powerful people calculate. You must understand how rare this habit is in a world of impulsive people. The average person wears his emotions like a badge, quick to rage, quick to sulk, quick to laugh too loud at meaningless things. He thinks this makes him authentic. It does not. It makes him transparent, predictable, weak. To be quietly attractive, you must cultivate an aura of cold authority. This does not mean being robotic. It means being impenetrable. Your anger may burn, but no one should see it unless you decide it serves you. Your desire may stir, but you never act on impulse. Your fear may whisper, but it never moves your hand. This is psychological warfare, because when others cannot read you, they cannot control you. Machiavelli himself warned that people are easy to manipulate because their emotions make them slaves. When you show restraint, you create unease. When you display composure in the face of insult, you are no longer playing the game, they are. When you refuse to rise to provocation, you force others to reveal the depth of their own instability. They lose their footing, and you remain the immovable center. In business, the person who stays calm when deals turn chaotic becomes the anchor everyone depends on. In relationships, the person who does not erupt with jealousy or collapse under emotion becomes irresistible because he is rare, unshakable, untouchable. People crave stability, but cannot find it within themselves. So they cling to the one who has mastered it. And here is the darker side. Emotional control is not just defense. It is offense. You can weaponize your composure to break others. Hold your calm when they expect you to explode, and you will watch their confidence fracture. Smile faintly in the face of insult, and you will make your enemy doubt himself. Delay your reaction to news, and you will make others restless, desperate for your approval or fear of your disapproval. Your cold authority will dominate without needing words. But this requires ruthless training. You must kill your reflexes. Do not respond immediately when anger flares. Pause, breathe, measure. Do not chase when desire tempts you. Wait, observe, see if it serves your mission. Do not crumble when fear whispers. Face it silently until it dissolves. Control does not come overnight. It is forged in moments of discomfort where others break, but you endure. Remember, the person who cannot control his anger becomes a slave to the one who provokes it. The person who cannot control his desire becomes a fool for the one who tempts him. The person who cannot control his fear becomes prey for the one who senses it. But the person who controls all three, anger, desire, fear, becomes untouchable. He moves when he decides, not when the world pulls his strings. And that cold detachment, that icy control radiates silent attraction because it communicates the deepest truth of power. I belong only to myself. You must burn this into your identity. Practice every day. Small provocations, small temptations, small fears. Use them as training. Respond less. Reveal less. Feel everything, but let nothing leak. From this moment, you are no longer a person pulled by strings. You are the hand that holds them. Comment this phrase right now if you understand the depth of this law. My mind is my fortress. Because until you master your emotions, you are a servant to them. But once you do, you become something rarer, colder, and infinitely more magnetic, a person who cannot be bent. Number 10. The calculated mastery of scarcity. Power is not only what you possess, it is what others believe they cannot have. Scarcity is one of the oldest weapons of influence, and it remains one of the most effective. Why? Because human beings are slaves to what is rare, what is withheld, what seems just out of reach. The common person gives himself away too easily. He is too available, too eager, too present. He texts back instantly. He accepts every invitation. He shares his thoughts freely, his plans openly, his time without question. And by doing so, he drains his value to nothing. But the person who makes himself scarce, the person who controls his presence like a resource, creates demand. He understands that value is not only in what you give, but in what you deny. This is not about arrogance. It is about strategy. You must engineer the perception that your time, your attention, and your approval are luxuries, not commodities. Think of the kings of old. They did not walk among peasants daily. They appeared rarely, ceremonially, making every glimpse feel like a privilege. Their absence created myth. Their scarcity created hunger. And you must do the same. Be present just enough to remind the world you exist, but absent enough to make them crave your return. When you speak, do not flood conversations. Let your words be drops of water in a desert. When you appear, do not linger endlessly. Leave before your presence becomes dull. When you give, do not give fully. Hold something back, so they always want more. Scarcity breeds obsession. It forces others to chase, to prove themselves worthy, to seek what you withhold. And here lies the Machiavellian brilliance. People value most not what is given freely but what costs them effort, patience, uncertainty. By denying constant access, you create leverage. In business, this transforms you into the person whose time is too precious to waste. Your absence forces others to adjust their schedules, bend their behavior to accommodate you. In relationships, it transforms you into the figure who never fully belongs to them, which keeps desire burning longer than it should. In life, it makes you magnetic because mystery and rarity are currencies the human mind cannot resist. The psychology is simple: abundance kills value. Scarcity amplifies it. Diamonds are only rocks, yet they command fortunes because they are rare. Apply this law to yourself. Become the diamond among stones. Guard your presence, guard your energy, guard your time. And when you give them, let it be deliberate, precise, unforgettable. This does not mean retreat into permanent isolation or starve the world of yourself completely. It means to measure, to ration, to release in calculated doses. Appear enough to be remembered, disappear enough to be missed. This cycle, presence, absence, return, creates the gravitational pull of true silent attraction. You will notice something profound. When you give less, people give more. When you withhold, they invest. When you are absent, they imagine you. Their minds race, their insecurities amplify, and in that chaos, you become larger than life. This is the paradox of scarcity. By doing less, you achieve more. By giving less, you gain more. By appearing less, you become unforgettable. But it requires cold discipline because the temptation to indulge is constant. Weak people cannot resist the urge to be seen, to be validated, to be available. You must resist. You must weaponize your scarcity until the world bends to it. And when you do, you will hold the strings of others' desires without ever lifting your voice. That is the essence of Machiavellian charisma. The power to control not by force but by absence. If you understand the weight of this law, prove it now. Write in the comments, "My scarcity creates value." Because when you master scarcity, you no longer chase the world. The world chases you. Number 11. The ruthless precision of boundaries. Power is not only built on what you allow. It is preserved by what you refuse. Weak people say yes to everything. They fear rejection, fear disappointing others, fear missing opportunities. In their eagerness to please, they become slaves to every demand, every request, every manipulation disguised as kindness. But the person of cold power lives by boundaries sharper than blades. He understands this truth. Respect is not earned by generosity. It is earned by limits. When you say yes to everything, your value dissolves. But when you say no with precision, you send a message that cannot be ignored. I am not here to be consumed. Boundaries are the invisible walls of authority. They separate kings from peasants, leaders from followers, predators from prey. They tell the world, this far, no further. And here is the Machiavellian twist. Your boundaries do not repel people. They attract them. Because boundaries communicate self-respect. And self-respect is magnetic. People are drawn to the person who cannot be bought with flattery, who cannot be bent by pressure, who cannot be swayed by guilt. They may resist your no, but secretly they admire it, even crave it, because it is so rare. Most people collapse at the first sign of pushback. You will not. Your refusal, delivered calmly and coldly, makes the world adjust itself to you. Think of history's most feared leaders. They were respected not because they gave everything, but because they gave only what served their power. This is how you must think. Every yes is an investment. Every no is protection. You are not here to be drained. You are here to command. Boundaries also expose manipulators. Watch carefully. Those who truly respect you will honor your limits. Those who resent them were never loyal to you. They only wanted to use you. In relationships, boundaries separate attraction from dependency. The person who allows endless disrespect, endless testing, endless compromise, he becomes disposable. The person who enforces limits becomes untouchable because he cannot be toyed with. In business, boundaries mark you as someone whose time and resources are not cheap. They elevate you from participant to prize. In life, boundaries shield you from the chaos of the world, letting you move with clarity and direction. But understand this, boundaries are not walls of fear. They are walls of power. They are not built to hide from the world, but to shape how the world approaches you. The key is ruthless consistency. If you break your own boundaries once, you invite weakness. If you enforce them with calm authority, you set a law that others will remember. Practice it daily. Refuse distractions that steal your focus. Refuse people who drain your energy. Refuse obligations that serve no purpose. Each no sharpens your authority. Each limit strengthens your aura. And over time, people will adjust. They will test you less because they know you cannot be moved. They will value you more because you do not bend cheaply. This is how boundaries transform from defense into attraction. You are no longer a person begging for acceptance. You are a fortress others seek entry into, and not all will be admitted. That scarcity, that discipline creates magnetism that no charm can replicate. From today, remember this. Every time you enforce a boundary, you raise your value. And every time you break one, you bleed it away. Comment this now if you understand. My boundaries are law. Because in a world of weak people who cannot say no, the person who does becomes the one they cannot forget. Number 12, the aura of untouchability. Every habit I've given you points to this final law, untouchability. The quietly attractive person is not just composed, disciplined, scarce, or controlled. He is untouchable. What does that mean? It means nothing outside of him can break him. Not praise, not insult, not desire, not rejection, not fear. He moves with calm purpose because he is in control. Untouchability is the crown, the armor, the shield that makes all other habits come alive. When the world sees that they cannot shake you, cannot sway you, cannot bend you, they surrender to your gravity. And here's the truth. Most people want to be liked. Most people want to be chosen. The untouchable person flips the game. He chooses. He is the one who sets the standard, who decides the pace, who shapes the frame. This does not mean arrogance or cruelty. It means you are guided only by your mission, your principles, your discipline. The world either adapts to you or drifts away. Both are victories because you are not here to be consumed. You are here to command. And in that state, attraction becomes effortless. People lean toward you not because you chase, but because you cannot be caught. They want to know you, but you reveal little. They want to possess you, but you remain in control. You are a paradox, present yet distant. Close enough to inspire, far enough to remain a mystery. That is why you become unforgettable. Untouchability is not coldness without purpose. It is cold power with precision. It is warmth on your terms, silence on your terms, presence on your terms. It is never being owned by emotion, by manipulation, or by the approval of the crowd. This is how you walk into any room and feel the air bend. This is how you live with a weight that others cannot ignore. This is how you leave your mark, not by begging but by commanding. So take these 12 habits, engrave them into your mind, and build yourself into the person who needs nothing and attracts everything. If you've stayed with me to this point, prove your commitment. Comment this phrase right now. I am untouchable. And if you're ready to master yourself, ready to own silence, ready to radiate cold authority, then like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because power is not given, it is built. And starting now, you build yours.